Kia ora whānau, welcome back, beautiful souls. Okay, let's do our karakia and then we will get into our reading. Creator of our souls, thank you for bringing us together and for protecting and guiding us as we travel our journey throughout this lifetime. We ask for your support as we serve you for the greater good. Please bring to light that which needs healing, the darkness that needs forgiveness within ourselves and therefore others. Bless us with your presence through these messages and help the collective to understand your divinity within. Amen. Okay, so let's get stuck in here. Let's have a look at the situation. Okay, whoa, just like that. Okay, we're not mucking around today then. Alrighty, I didn't mean to shuffle. I wasn't actually planning on doing it that way, but that's okay. We'll do it this way. I love this. Whoa, Queen of Voices again. Interesting. Okay. Look, as you know, I talked about at the beginning of yesterday's video, we are dealing with some pretty heavy stuff here. What we are dealing with exactly is our shadow. What is in the shadow, right? What's in the shadow? Bringing that to the light, because we don't want to be carrying that with us as we go along our journey, right? Like, who wants that? Who truly wants that? And not everyone's going to be able to manage that for themselves. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. So those of you who are on this journey, I applaud you, and you have my utmost respect, because it is a journey that is difficult, but entirely worth it. Entirely worth it. Okay, so let's get stuck into this. I'm interested to see the messages that are going to come out of this, actually. So in the situation, the present time here, we have the Seven of Emotions. This is really interesting, because what I love about this is that there's options here, right? There's options of, it's like this person standing here and going, oh, what shall I feel today then? what am I gonna wear today? And I really love this, because it reminds me of this work I'm doing right now, and out of the book of Leave This Book in Your Bathroom, or whatever it's called, and I read from it the other day about fear, but it's about talking about the soul leading the way, right? And allowing that to happen every day, and waking up every day and going, I wonder where the soul will lead me, you know. And I called my soul joy, because that's the emotion that I want to feel, is joy, right? Even if things come up and I need to deal with them, which happens on a daily, you know, there's still ultimately what I come back to is joy, this joy within. And it's like, where is joy going to lead me today? You know, what are we going to do today, joy? You know, and so it's kind of like that. What do you want your underlying emotion to be on a regular? And this here actually brings me to thoughts. And that's ultimately what it is. What thoughts are you going to think that are going to create these emotions? What choice of thoughts is it going to give you, right? Because this is about us being in control of ourselves, controlling our mind. And I don't mean like, you know, in a way that you're under the thumb and, you know, but this is about you getting a handle on things. And this is what we talk about being emotionally mature. We have the option to decide how we want to handle certain situations. And our emotions, yeah, they can be overwhelming, and yes, sometimes they can get on top of us, but it's how we handle that and how we deal with that, right? What we do with that, yeah. And so it's kind of like, what am I going to pick out of the fishbowl today? Or am I going to jump in the fishbowl and swim with every freaking emotion that's in there right now, right? Because some days it's like that. I know it is for me, that's for sure. Some days it's like, oh man, I just get to bed, I'm like, oh yeah, that was exhausting. So it's, and I'm sure that's especially at the moment. There's just so much, and the energy's going on right now, and we've got a lot coming up. We've got a couple of retrogrades, I think. We've got a new moon, we've got eclipses, we've got all sorts of stuff. So, this is a chance for us to really, before this new moon, a chance for us to really decide what it is that we want to step into with this new moon coming up. Yes. So yeah, we've got the page of emotions here, and this is what the challenge is. There's between the heart. I feel like this is sort of this, for some of you, this could be anxiety. And just notice the fish here swimming over here, and you've got these fishes here, right? And it's kind of like this is the one that got away. And what I want to say about this is that for some of you, this could very well be anxiety getting away on you, and it being very, very difficult to control, or at least feeling like it's got a handle on you. And sometimes it can feel like that, right? That our emotions have a handle on us rather than the other way around. And that can be as a result of our thoughts, and when I say that, it sounds also very simple, but it's not. When you're in the midst of it, it's totally not. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I calm this down? And I just want to go here to the heart space, because this is a way to really come into this heart space, into the divinity, right? The God self that is within, and kind of go, this is what is within me that can soothe everything else. This is what I can do to get on top of this result here, which is I'm like working my way backwards. This is the result here of what is coming through here. This is bringing down the divinity from the higher self, from the heavens above, right? The godlike self into your heart to be able to soothe your emotions. Love that. I love that. Okay, the past events that led up to this is this Queen of Swords. This could very well be someone around you who may have been incredibly harsh, who may have been on your back all the time, like a freaking, what do you call them in the army? All I can think of is colonel, but that. Well, I don't have the word, but you know what I mean, right? That sergeant major there, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, judging and critical, and this could be what is going on in your mind. But because this is a queen, I feel like for some of you this may have been your mother, or some female of authority. It could have been a sibling, an older sibling particularly, but someone who had quite a lot of influence over you, who, without you maybe even realizing it, actually got into your head and created this anxiety within you that you don't know where it comes from or what it feels like. But there could have been someone around you who had that going on for them, and you just naturally picked up on that vibe, and now you're trying to soothe it. Could even be that person is still around you, and it's like, oh, I just don't know how to do this, I don't know what to do. And so yeah, that could be something that is very, it could be something you're aware of or not. But anyway, I'm actually being drawn to the two of materials, and I feel like I want to talk about this first, do I? I do. Actually, yes. I want to come here first because this is jumping out at me, and I feel like there's two of materials. It's like, okay, it's like you're juggling these two things, right? This could be part of the anxiety, actually. And it feels like you're juggling these two things, but there's not just two things. Like, if you look at these flowers, there's like 6 million petals on each of these flowers, and that's what you're juggling. It's like, you know, someone who like balances plates, like that kind of thing, and you're balancing the plates, but you've got 50 plates on each pile, and it looks like, oh, they've only got two piles, but it's 100 plates all up. Like, come on. And then, not only then, but one of those plates drops. And what we tend to do, and so you've got some petals falling, right? And this person's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Help me, help me, help me. Because some of the petals are falling, and this is natural. The petals wilt away. It's a natural occurrence when a flower has been picked for the petals to do that. And even when the flower hasn't been picked, the petals are still going to wilt away. It's a natural progression of a flower's life, right? But what we tend to do is we'll be balancing these plates, right? And then we'll drop one because our arms get tired and heavy, and one will fall. And what happens when it falls? We get distracted by the one that has fallen instead of focusing on the 99 that we are still holding and balancing. And we berate ourselves and we beat ourselves up for the one that has fallen. The Queen of Voices would probably have been like, I would never have dropped one of those without even saying another word. And then you feel less than. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not living up to the plate. You know, you're not stepping up to the plate, right? And yeah, you know, it can create inside this anxiety of I'm not good enough. Like, anticipation of what are people going to think of me, what's going to happen in the future, like what is she going to say, what do I do, you know? And so, yeah, that's cool that that came up first. In the near future here, we have the Seven of Inspiration. And this here is this is actually you getting on top of that. And notice here how it's kind of like these are all the thoughts coming in, and this is the darkness in which you're being held in by this anxiety. And it's like her can you see that? Her arms are holding this at bay, and so it's kind of like you're getting on top of it, and the light is starting to shine through, you know. And that could be like, I'm just giving you one example as to how this may have occurred, but obviously you're going to know what your story is and how this applies, if it applies at all. If it doesn't, please pass it on, because there will be someone who will be able to benefit from this. So, you know, this is about you creating this space where you're able to free yourself a little bit from this, and understand and get a handle on a way to get on top of the anxiety. The biggest thing to be aware of, and this leads me to the Hierophant actually, which you may not be aware of, is being in the present moment. Anxiety cannot exist because, and you've probably all heard it, there's memes about it everywhere, you know, it's what is it, it's something about the past, something about the future, and being in the present. I can't remember. I was like, you've all heard about it, and now I can't even remember what it is. But anxiety is about focusing on the future. What's going to happen? Who will I bump into? Who will see me? What will they think? What if the Queen of Voices finds out that I dropped a plate? What if she finds out that the freaking petals wilted away? She's going to absolutely slam me with her voice. And you know what's going to happen, right? You're going to stress about that, and you're going to end up with this little bit of a flower, and all the petals are wilted away, and you're freaking out and you're stressing out. And then the Queen of Voices comes along, and you're like, oh my God, you know, like they just dropped off. And she's like, that's what flowers do. And off she goes, and you were like, oh man, I stressed about nothing, you know. And that's how it works sometimes, you know. But anyway, so I feel like this is, you know, this ability to get on top of it, and allow yourself to not let the anxiety get on top of you, you know. And this is this person sitting up here, and for some of you, I feel like when you are out, when you're out in public, right, it may feel like you've been thrown to the wolves. It's kind of like you're out in the elements and the elements have got on top of you. You feel very vulnerable. You feel like you're sticking out like a sore thumb and everyone is looking at you. When the majority of the people don't notice you, just like you don't notice them, half the people are probably wondering how they're going to get on top of their anxiety and hopefully all their petals don't fall off, and how are they juggling their 100 plates, if not more, right? They're on their own buzz. And yeah, this is something that I feel like another thing with this Hierophant as well is that there's lots of help out there for this kind of thing. And I'll tell you what, you wouldn't even know how many people actually feel like this. And the majority of people that I talk to have been through this. In fact, I think probably everyone I know has been through this, and people like truly, you wouldn't believe people who appear the most confident in the world are like, oh my God, I had so much anxiety. Oh my gosh, I get so nervous when I have to go somewhere new by myself. I get, it's like, it's just everyone feels that, but we feel like we're the only ones who feel it because it's so big at the time. So, in that regard, it can be quite overpowering, right? The invitation here is this Nine of Materials is to just let it be there. Honestly, let it be there. Actually go, oh my gosh, the whole world feels like this. Let's make a song about it. Let's make a song and dance about it. Let's let the petals wilt away. Actually allowing the anxiety to be there, because the more we try and fight it, the bigger and louder it gets. It's like being in a sound dome, right? It gets louder and louder and louder. And then we get through whatever it is that we've done and we can breathe again. And that's what I want to say is breathe. Find other things to focus on. What are you smelling? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What it's, what is it? You list 5 things of what you can see, 4 things of what you can smell, 3 things of what you can hear, 2 things of the sensation you can touch, and 1 thing of what is it? There's another sense with that. I can't remember, but it just takes your focus off it, right? Some people have a rubber band that they flick if it's getting all too overwhelming for them, and it gives them something else to flick on that can be particularly good for self-harming if anybody is going through that. Another good thing, if you're at home and you're about to go somewhere and you're very anxious about it, if you have time, have a shower. Okay, that can help to wash away that. Just it kind of gives you a shift in that it's a break state. It washes away that energy and helps to calm it down sometimes. And put on some loud music. Distract yourself with that. So the Hermit here is the external influence and the environment. And I feel like some of you may have actually isolated yourself to the point where you really don't go anywhere. I feel, yeah, I'm just getting a few things about this actually. The longer that you stay in hermit mode, the harder it's going to be. There's ways that you can put yourself out there, and that is getting support people to go with you to begin with, and facing the fear and doing it anyway. It can be really hard though, because I know that it's so overwhelming. This Hermit is the only one that I know of, or at least the only deck of cards that I have that I'm aware of, that is in the daylight. And this screams to me how much like you feel like you stick out like a sore thumb, like everyone can see you. And there's the tree there of shade that you can't even get to hide under. And yeah, but I want to say that nothing is going to grow in your life. It's sort of like some of you want this you have this vision for your life and you want it to grow into that, but it's never going to grow while you're isolating yourself. And so that's important for you to understand that and make a choice, because it's safer in that comfort zone. It feels safer, but it's also a very it's you're not living, and in that regard, it's not serving you in any shape or form. That's not life, and you deserve more than that. Whatever whatever has happened to get you to this state does not deserve to have the power over you to remain here. It's up to you to battle that and go, do you know what? I'm going to live my life, and you don't get to bully me into submission to where I'm so isolated, there is no one around me, because ultimately that's what the anxiety is doing. It's bullying you, and you're allowing it to. No, let's be honest here. Let's take accountability and responsibility. We allow this to happen as well, And that's not to minimize it or say it's your fault. I don't mean that at all. But I know for myself, when I've let anxiety get on top of me, I've been driving somewhere and I'm anticipating what's going to happen and who I'm going to see. And I don't want to see this person. I don't want to see that person. And I'm like, got to remind myself that right now I'm in the car, I'm driving, I'm safe. They're not here. It's okay. I'll deal with it when I get there. And then, this day that this happened and I got there, they weren't there. So, it was like, oh, okay, sweet. So yeah, it's a matter of you getting on top of it and finding ways that help you, and talking to other people who have potentially been through the same thing and working out what they did. And because they've been through it, they may help you to get through it too, because they understand, this is the importance of sharing our lived experience. And maybe it is that you'll be able to help somebody because you've been through it yourself, and that comes in waves as well, right? Some days you can get out there no problem, and other days not so much. It just depends on the day. And it's understanding that and having patience with yourself. Okay, the 8 of materials here is the next card, in the hopes and fears. And this here is, I feel like someone kind of putting on a front. And there's lots of different aspects of yourself that sit. And this is what I was just saying. Some days it's easier than others, right? Depending on what skin you're wearing, if you like. And yeah, and it's hard work. It's something you need to do over and over again. And every time you step out, you develop another part of yourself, and you develop another part of yourself, and then again you develop another part of yourself. I know when my daughter had really bad social anxiety, and it just struck me one day when she walked into a shop. And normally she'd be really bright and bubbly and bouncy, and she couldn't even say hello to the person behind the counter. And I was shocked, because I was just like, how did that happen? Like I just didn't even know how that happened. It seemed sudden, but for her it probably wasn't. And I really thought about it, and I looked into it, and I realized that it was the social anxiety that she had. And part of her, when I talked to her about it, and I said to her, can you relate to this? And I read out the signs of what it is to have social anxiety, and she could relate to everything, because she didn't know what was wrong with her either. She was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, because I'm like, oh darling, why didn't you say hello? And she's like, I don't know, I couldn't, mum, and then she couldn't even go in to get what it was that she wanted. And it was just, wow, it blew me away. But anyway, when I read this out to her, she related to everything. And from there, that actually helped her to become more confident. And we talked about how she felt when she was out. She was 13, I think, at the time, 13. And we went out one day, and you know, there was a lot of things that was going on for her, and I did take her out of situations that she was in, which were, you know, adding to the social anxiety and making things worse for her. So I adjusted her life and mine as much as possible to help her. But we went out to the shops. We went out shopping for her birthday one day. It was just her and I, and went to a mall that was further away where I knew she wouldn't know everybody. We went during school hours. And she was looking around the shop, and I just watched her, and I watched the other people around her. And I said to her when we came out of the shop, I said, you know, I kind of watched you when you were in there. I said, you look like a very standard person, in the sense that you didn't look awkward, because that was one thing she always felt like everyone could tell she felt awkward. I said, you look like just a regular person, regular girl going shopping in the shop. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah, you just look like everybody else. And then we went up to the counter into another shop, and she spoke to the shop assistant, and I was like, oh my god, like quietly I was celebrating, because I was like, yes, this is progress, you know. And she slowly, you know, some other days she couldn't do anything like that, but you know, she slowly started to learn to wear different skins, and she was able to branch out and actually do things differently for herself. So it's just understanding what is going on for you, understanding you're not alone, and actually getting the control of that is so important for you to be able to grow and to learn more about who you are. And as you do that, it makes you stronger and stronger. And look, you know, we're what, 7, 8 years later now, and she just rang me the other day because she was walking to the train and she had a bout of anxiety, you know, and she's like, Mum, like, I'm feeling really anxious, like, and I was like, it's okay, darling, and we just talked, and then she was right. Once she hopped on her train, she was okay, you know. But she's just also made some massive moves in her life. So, you know, it just depends on the day, and it doesn't mean it goes away. You know, we all have anxiety to a degree, and sometimes it's just bigger than other days. So yeah, you know, be patient with yourself. The outcome here is the Lovers, which I adore for this, because this is about, I feel like in this reading, this is about loving parts of yourself that you otherwise didn't love. This is incorporating those parts of yourself into your being and welcoming them in and going, you know what, I know this goes on for you, and I know you have this stuff. Like all these arms here is like an octopus, right? Each arm represents a different thing that we might have going on for ourselves, or a different aspect of that one thing that goes on for ourselves. And we're embracing it and going, you know what, come here. I'm going to love all of you regardless. You know, and there's some days you might want to chop one of those arms off, you know, but you know that you can't, because, you know, you just can't, because it's there, and you're going to grow another arm anyway. Because that's how it works, and it comes back stronger and louder. And you know, but it's about you blessing it and seeing the beauty of those aspects of yourself and what they're trying to do for you, because part of the anxiety is it's trying to protect you so that you don't get hurt, because once upon a time there was this person who was in your ear going this, that, and everything else, right? So, you know, this could have even been kids at school. You could have been bullied. You know, it could have been partners who put you down and dug at you. This may have come from anywhere, you know. So in that regard, this is you on this journey to leading to a life that's more manageable for you. Okay. I think I actually want to just shuffle it like this. I wasn't quite putting in the request here. Okay, so one card, please. One card. Letting go. Letting go. Okay. Man. I feel like Oh, I got to that straight away. I just feel like that was like hours of non-stop talking. But yeah, I hope that relates to you. Like, I really hope it helps you, And please comment down below, because you don't know what sharing your story can help other people with theirs, even if they're too afraid to comment. And I know that, some people don't like to do that and other people do, but do share, because you can, create a community of people who are having the same experience, and that can help you as well, right? So yeah, so letting go. Alrighty. In this image of of lotus leaves in the early morning, we can see in the rippling of the water that one drop has just fallen. It is a precious moment, and one that is full of poignancy in surrendering to gravity and slipping off the leaf. The drop loses the drop loses its previous identity and joins the vastness of the water below. We can imagine that it must have trembled before it fell, just on the edge between the known and the unknowable. To choose this card is a recognition that something is finished, something is completing. Whatever it is, a job, a relationship, a home you have loved, anything that might have helped you to define who you are, it is time to let go of it, allowing any sadness, but not trying to hold on. Something greater is awaiting you. New dimensions are there to be discovered. You are past the point of no return now, and gravity is doing its work. Go with it. It represents liberation. That's really interesting, because I also feel like this is, when it talked about here, that, it trembled before it fell. It's like that, like stepping into the unknown, especially if this is anxiety. And this could be anxiety about this could be anxiety be why can't I say this? Anxiety about starting something new and stepping into a new life. Absolutely, that would cause anyone a massive amount of anxiety, eh? Okay. In existence, there is nobody who is superior and nobody who is inferior. The blade of grass and the great star are absolutely equal, but man wants to be higher than others. He wants to conquer nature. Hence, he has to fight continuously. All complexity arises out of this fight. The innocent person is one who has renounced fighting, who is no longer interested in being higher, who is no longer interested in performing, in proving that he is someone special, who has become like a rose flower or like a dewdrop on the lotus leaf, who has become part of this infinity, who has melted, merged, and become one with the ocean, and is just a wave, who has no idea of the I. The disappearance of the I is innocence. Ooh, I like that. That's kind of reminds me of the one that we had yesterday with the master, but it's kind of like blending in, right? It reminds me of this, where there's lots of different dots and you are one of these dots, but who would even know which one you are, because they're all the same. Some are bigger than others, but they are ultimately all the same, right? They're just positioned differently. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, what's the next message here? The other thing I really like about pulling these cards is sometimes it's not exactly in line with what has come out, although we can, get it to fit. But that may be a message for someone of something that's going on for you right now. And this is how you're feeling about that situation, right? Okay, so one card from this is the Gateway of Lights activation oracle card. So it would be nice to have an activation after that energy, eh? Okay, I want one card, please. These are quite new. So, one card though. I know you can do it. One card. I do really like these to jump. But I may need to... No, there it is. Let's check that one. Pick that one. I don't know what's wrong with my words right now. Okay, so Akashic records. This is cool. Clearing old stories, releasing past lives, freedom. And in regards to past lives and releasing past lives, right, is that it can be a past life of what you have known in this energy, right? But yeah, I'm sure this is going to go deep, and I love it. It's going to go on another tangent, which is amazing. Okay, where are we? Past Element OP. Oh, it's not there. What is it? Oh, it's called the Akashic. Oh, I've freaking forgotten what the. Yeah, Akashic Records. Looking at the wrong words. Okay, 34. So if you feel like you're going to do something silly when you walk out the house or whatever, see, I just did that then, right? And once upon a time, I would have absolutely stopped this video and started again and gone, I can't post that. How embarrassing. But now I'm just like, oh, well, that's just who I am. Okay. Akasha is a Sanskrit word that means ether or sky-based, and as explained above, the Akashic records are a compendium of universal events, experiences, and lifetimes held in the spiritual realms. Helena Blavatsky, one of the founders of Theosophy, described them as indestructible tablets of the astral light. We can visit the Akashic records in dreams, visions, and meditations. When we are transported or guided to connect with them, we are being given the opportunity to take an inventory of our life and all the events that have taken place in it, and to gain information on past lifetimes. Connect. Ask your angels and guides to direct you to the energy of the Akashic records. If you are feeling stuck or unsure, ask the records to reveal to you any essential soul lessons or information that you can fulfill your purpose during this lifetime. Beautiful. And you know that if this is the case for you, whatever is going on, that you can ask, why do I have this? And you know, how can I actually get through it for myself? Okay, so your message. When you draw this card, the universe is releasing you from past experiences. These can be soul-based memories, fears from previous lifetimes, or older aspects of this current lifetime that you have moved on from. Know that this is the time to reclaim your freedom and rewrite your story. You can do this by following through on your dreams. Gone are the days of fear-based indecision. This is the time to rise up and claim your truth. If you are sitting on a dream or are feeling called to move in a particular direction, it's because you have unearthed an important soul lesson, and it is essential for you to follow that call to clear unwanted energies of your past. As you do so, don't allow yourself to be pulled into expecting the worst possible outcome. Know that this expectation is not your truth, but old energy being released from your energy body. Oh, I love that. Call on in the angels to shine their light on any repressed fears, energies, or stories that are no longer serving you. It's time to fly high in freedom. Oh, I love that. It's time to fly high in freedom. 100%. I might actually use that as the title. That was awesome. I love, love, love that came up. It's so funny because I went to jump out. I was like, oh, I wonder how that's going to relate. And it freaking did. So yeah. It's time to let go, right? It's time to let go of this. That's incredible. I hope that gives you hope, you know, and inspires you to do what you need to do to heal from this, because at the end of the day, by you doing that, you will also help others to heal. So yeah, like I say, please share your experience if you feel called to. I'd love to hear about it, and I'm sure others would too. And yeah. Until next time, take care of your beautiful self. And I was going to say something else then, but I really don't have anything else to say. That's it. Yeah. Okay. See you. Bye bye.